Check, please.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Everything Money. We're going to give you an update on some semiconductor companies, Intel, which we own, AMD, Micron, which is Manish Babrai is a huge fan of. We're going to look at these three companies, look at the financials, go through our stock analyzer tool and see what we could be paying for these companies. The semiconductor, Mo, you know all about these semiconductors. Fill the viewers in on what's going on in the semiconductor world.
So I just like to look and see what these head honchos at all these semiconductor companies say. Guys, there's a shortage out there. There's a lot of companies that are saying we're going to have shortages into 2026 with supply chain issues. And it doesn't seem like anything's getting better right now. I don't see any solutions. Semiconductors are tough. With interest rate environments climbing, that's even more tough for semiconductors. So it's going to be a tough go for these things. So let's dig into them a little bit.
Paul, talk about these three companies and your stances on them.
Okay, so Intel. If you've watched any of our videos, I'm a buyer of Intel, sub 50. It's currently $45 a share. What's it at right now? $48 a share. I am accruing shares. Seth Klarman likes Intel. I just don't believe Intel is going to zero. Do I think other companies are going to break into its market share? Absolutely. But I think the market for chips is getting larger and larger, and Intel's share of that market will probably decrease, but the pie is growing bigger and bigger. So that's okay.
You're fine with the second place company.
Yeah, I'm fine with fifth place as long as it's the right buy.
You're right.
Micron. I don't see the Micron. We'll show the stock analyzer tool. I don't see the Micron. AMD. I mean, this thing's been overpriced for 20 years. So why don't we go look at the eight? Okay, so let's go here first to the 8 pillars for Intel. I mean, it's all but one of them. Now, keep in mind, cash flow is going to be suffering at Intel. They've already announced this. They're investing huge amounts of money. Their capital expenditures are going to skyrocket. They're building a $20 billion factory in Ohio. They're building another $20 billion factory in Arizona. They're investing in the future. Also why I like them. Okay. But everything else is a check mark. They're buying back shares. They're selling for a low 5-year and PE and free cash flow. Was that, Mo?
And they've laid out the next 5 years. They said, this is what's going to happen.
I think they said in 2025 they'll get bad. They'll be stabilized in their free cash flow.
3 years. Sorry, I forgot it's 2022.
Yeah, it's 2022. Listen, the last 2 years have been non-existent. I'm still a believer in Intel. They're paying a dividend, right?
You got those messages coming through in the chat.
Yeah. So guys, the other thing, we have a chat here. We have a lot of people talking about Intel in our chats. Like that's what's great about our community. People can go in there and bounce their ideas off each other. But what is Intel's? They didn't. So their dividend is 2.9%. I don't think they canceled their dividend, did they? We had to look into that.
Double check for it.
But it just shows how much I don't care about dividends. I don't even pay attention. All right, let's go to the next company. Yeah, the next company is Micron. There are 8 pillars. A lot of X's here. A low return on invested capital, a high price to free cash flow, which isn't aligning properly with their earnings. I don't like that very much. However, probably means they're investing a lot of money into the company if they have a high CapEx number. Their cash flow is down over the last 5 years. Again, let's go look at their cash flow statement. Is it because of increased capital expenditures? Yeah, I mean, they've doubled their capital expenditures in the last 5 years. $5.4 to $10.6 billion. That's big capital expenditure money. The chip space, I hate saying the word space, is very competitive, and it's going to grow very quickly. Guys, we have 7.5 billion people in this world. How many chips do we use now? How many chips are we going to use when Africa is the next frontier of growth?
Right.
You know what I mean? I told Mikey, we're looking in Africa now to figure out a way to invest in Africa somehow, because I just look at Africa as this huge continent with how many billions of people. The bottom line is they're going to need chips. You know what I mean? China's still the fastest growing middle class in the world. India, good Lord, guys, chips are going to be growing and growing and growing. I mean, how many chips is the average? So 1.2 billion people in Africa. How many chips? I'd like to see the stat of how many chips there are in the U.S. essentially per person, and to see what it is for a place like Africa, China, and India. I mean, Africa, China, and India combined have half the world's population, and they're not developed yet. We have 5% of the world's population, and we're so developed, right? So there's a lot of growth out there for chips. Okay, AMD. So anyways, we go back to the stock analyzer tool. And guys, for those of you who are new to our channel, this stock analyzer tool is phenomenal. It allows you to put in some general assumptions because every investment is the present value of future cash flow. We don't know what that future looks like, so you have to make assumptions. I put these assumptions in. So guys, I talked about this. I talked about community. You see all the software here. If you're interested in it, here's Seth on that.
If these value investing concepts speak to you, You can join the Everything Money community. You can get the software behind Paul, and you can have all this in the palm of your hands. By joining the community, you'll be joining thousands of people all over the world who speak and communicate just like you on these topics. We help each other. We work together. We day trade. It's incredible. You get the software, you get the data, and all the amazing tools that are coming out in the future. Go to everythingmoney.com or patreon.com/everythingmoney and join today. Yeah, so in layman's terms, I used to just buy stocks and hope they would go up. People say they give these general price targets, Paul. The stock analyzer tool lets me make predictions of the future, which we don't know, using the numbers from the past to somewhat give me a buy
and some
region.
research. If you do some research and you've done some more thorough research and come back to the company and say, hey, based on this, I think they're going to do X amount of growth in the next 10 years.
And this brings in the concept of what return I want. If I want a very small return, I can pay more for the said product, or if I want a larger return, I must pay less. So walk me through it.
Well, remember also, the biggest key, you can never change how much you pay for a company. The second you buy that stock, that is your investment in the company. Yes, you can sell it and all that stuff, but you might get lucky and it goes up a little bit before you sell it. But the second you made that investment, that is your investment price. Now let's go back to Intel real quick, because I didn't do stock analyzer on Intel. I made very low assumptions, 3% growth, 5%, 7%. Certain margin growth, analyze button, hit the analyze button. Again, I do 12.5% return because that includes my margin of safety, and I can always invest in an ETF for 9 or 10%. So if I'm going to go invest in my own company, in another company, I want this margin. And look, the middle number is 48 to 60, 50 to 60 bucks. So I'm a buyer, sub 50. I feel comfortable with that. I have a high price of 67 to 70 bucks. That's based on 12.5%. What do I think the company is actually worth? Maybe I do 10%. I actually think it's worth 80 to 90 bucks. So I'm buying that for quite the discount.
Hey, what'd you put in for profit margin?
I put in 20 to 23%, right? And I go conservative. 20% is not even on their radar.
Yeah.
No, the last 10 years, it did 22.9. So I figure because of competition. But you know what? The chip shortage is helping their margin.
Yeah. They said that their profit margin is going to decrease in the next 2 years, and then it should start to increase again.
Correct.
But that's why I was asking what you did. Yep. But I think 20 is a good number.
Yeah. So I'm looking at going, like, listen, could I be wrong on this? Absolutely, I could be wrong on this. But when I'm being conservative, when I have margin of safety, in the long run, I'll probably do well when I buy good companies with great balance sheets, which is what Intel is. Let's go to Micron, stock analyzer tool. 3, 5, and 7, big company, higher margins I put in, and I don't see what Monish sees in the company. I'm missing something. I mean, we're close on the mid-range, and guess what? Everybody here who watches our channel knows that Monish is an incredibly brilliant man. He's friends with Charlie Munger. He's friends with Guy Spear. I don't see what they see. I don't own the stock. Mm-hmm. A lot of you out there would sit there and say, man, those guys own it. I'm going to buy it. I don't, because I don't see it. Just like Berkshire Hathaway owns Verizon. I don't understand why. I don't own Verizon. That's just it. All right. And they're not going to be right on everything, and I'm not going to be right on everything. But I don't see what they see, so therefore I avoid it because it doesn't make sense to me. All right. Finally, AMD. I put in much higher revenue growth numbers for AMD. Much higher. Now, their profit margin over the last 5 years is a lot lower because they were growing and they were taking losses, so I went and stabilized them. These are probably too low, but we'll see. Bottom line is I need to buy AMD for like low 40s. It's at 113.
That's share dilution too. It doesn't look like they're stopping anytime soon either.
And they're diluting the heck out of their investors. Yeah. So let's say they increase their shares by 20% and profit goes up 20%. You as an investor have gotten no benefit because now that 20% growth is split by 20% more shares.
Their shares right now are up to 29%.
In the last 5 years?
Yep, in the last 5 years.
I don't know. Again, I could be wrong. I've been wrong on AMD for a while now. Actually, AMD, hasn't it fallen back?
Yeah, it's kind of come back.
Oh, wow. It hit a high of what? 165.
Yep,
wow.
165.
And now it's 113. If I had told you back in November at 165, that was going to be 113 4 months later, you'd been like, you're stupid, Paul. All right. Listen, I look at the world and of investments as I am buying free cash flow, revenue, and profit. Yes, I'm buying a balance sheet too, but assuming balance sheets are pretty stable, I want to buy revenue, cash flow, and profit for as cheap as possible. Now, obviously, the future determines, because if two companies are exactly the same in every way, one's growing 5% a year, one's growing 20% a year, I should pay more for the 20% per year. I should pay a higher premium. I get that. And that is the case. And AMD should get a higher premium, but it's still not making sense even at a higher premium. I don't, because guess what? When it finally hits that high level, it shouldn't sell for a premium anymore because it's already grown itself into a big size, just like Intel is. So it is a play, but that's the whole point. Intel's kind of considered the I like it when companies are growing still, but they're still the tragedy ones. I'm obviously happy that they're taking their free cash flow and they're saying, listen, we're cutting this free cash flow and we're going to go invest in our future. Great. We don't need the cash flow. The company's doing a great job. In terms of the balance sheet's great. Go secure your marketplace. Make great chips that can compete. That's it.
If you're interested in trading these companies at a quicker pace and day trading, Paul, you and I have been day trading 3 times this week. You and I got together. You can join Mo, the fearless leader of the Bid and Ask Nation, our elite trading tier of our Everything Money community. Mo, show them what's going on with these semiconductor companies and trading.
Guys, so this is Micron. A lot of these semiconductors are up here at these highs. Do not think that these are not going to come down. So at some point, they are all going to come down to this area and consolidate. So I would just throw these on a watch list because you kind of run out of steam up here. I'm not trying to predict the future, but I don't see a lot of movement to the top, I think, but there's a lot of potential to go short. So come and join me in the Bid and Ask Nation, learn how to short from a long-term perspective, and that'll help. Now, and like Seth just said, day trading is great for these because there's so much volatility. You see here's AMD today. Look at the short that you could have had this morning. You were under 20%. You had amazing selling volume coming in, perfect engulfing candlesticks, and then the day just kind of teetered out. But this morning, did we trade that this morning?
We did not, but I'll tell you what, Mo.
That's beautiful. It's textbook.
Folks, if you're watching at home, this was complete. Whatever Mo is saying was complete gibberish in my mind for so long. And the next thing you know, you keep going. You keep looking at it. You keep coming back to me asking the questions. Now, all of a sudden, Paul, you and I are trading on a daily basis. You're dropping 20K a trade.
Today I had 9 trades at once, 180 grand deployed. Every single one of them was a short position because the market was going low. The market went from positive to negative. My first 4 or 5 trades I lost money on. Market went negative. We saw some shorts come in, and I went short on 9 different positions and killed it.
Guys, ended up positive. When it comes to tech, when it comes to chips, these things are, look at this chart right here. This is the long-term chart on Micron. If this comes down from $90 down to, say $50, imagine how many shorting opportunities from a day trading perspective you're going to have in that $40 range. So
I love day trading.
There is going to be, come in, learn how to short with me, learn how to go long, learn how to day trade with all of us. It's a great place to be.
Wow. Keep watching the videos. This is a language you got to learn. We'll be here for you. And we appreciate your support. All those beautiful Everything Money community members, we love you. I love you to death. So fondle thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe and get more of our videos. And see you next time.